This is Courtney Freeman. I'm here with Conscious Cannabiz. Jennifer Whetzel is our guest today. We'll be speaking with her. First, we'd like to introduce a giveaway. Stay tuned to the end of the show so you can find out how to enter. We will have some notes on our Instagram account, which is WhiteBuffaloSpirit. I don't know if you can see that. Here we go. It's La Lune. So in honor of the pink super full moon, we're doing a giveaway of the La Lune necklace. This is crystals and cannabis jewelry line from WhiteBuffaloSpirit. And my bud base gave us this jewelry stand, so it's pretty cool. Happy to share that. All right, I'd like to introduce you to Jennifer Whetzel. She's an amazing woman in the cannabis industry. She has some great branding with Lady Jane Branding. She works with some archetypes that are really interesting. If you haven't learned about that, check it out. She also has an education course on Althea.Solutions platform. And we're here today talking about the WomeninCannabis.study, a groundbreaking data solution. We're looking at what's going on in the industry and taking away some insights. So stay for the end of this broadcast so you can understand what those insights are. Jennifer, I'm turning to you. If you would please introduce yourself and then tell us how you came to be working in the cannabis industry.
Thank you, Courtney, for that introduction. And I'm so excited to be on here. I really appreciate you having me on your show.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, so my background is in all things marketing. I spent time in merchandising, in PR on a military base in Japan. I worked in an advertising agency. I went to Miami Ad School for account planning and strategy. I worked in a qualitative and quantitative research, a consumer insights firm. I was a VP of marketing in an animal health supplement company, and I've worked in experiential marketing. And then I had a really rough year. It was 2018. I lost that job, and then I needed to move my mom here to take care of her, and I had PTSD. And realized I really could not go get a job. I needed to create my own. And so creating Lady Jane Branding was part of my healing process. Cannabis was also part of my healing process. In fact, it's why I moved to Maine so that I could get my medical card. I was struggling with symptoms from an autoimmune disorder and an immune disorder. And I was able to use cannabis and therapy and brain retraining and my creativity building this business to heal. And so I wanted to be able to give back to the cannabis community because that's how I healed myself.
Thank you. And thank you for sharing your vulnerability here and telling us about, what your medical interests were for coming to cannabis. I think it's worth highlighting that within our industry, so many of us have been drawn to plant medicine for our own needs, and we continue to share that information with others as we move through on our journey. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. I think stories are powerful, and it's how we know that we're not alone and we can get through stuff, so that's why it's important to talk about that stuff. So, when I was building the business, I spent a lot of time at my caregiver's house, and I met a lot of entrepreneurs who were working in cannabis, and I realized that many of them had no background in marketing and advertising, and I saw a lot of the branding that was out there, at least in the market where I am in Maine. Well, there wasn't very much. And so I thought if I could provide tools to entrepreneurs who are good at what they do, not at marketing and branding, that were simple and easy to use and low cost, high value, then I could help there be more professional looking branding out there in the marketplace, because that really does help it helps with consumer trust. We're an industry that we need consumers to trust us, and good branding is very helpful for that. And so what I just want
to highlight, I was reading something about reaching Gen Z today, and this is something that's been going on for a while, but one of the kind of I guess integral moments here is that we have a switch from previously where people might be able to advertise without any kind of backup information, like just looking at the cigarettes in the 60s, like you could just tell people anything and they might believe it. Whereas today, not only are we more skeptical, and especially with Gen Z, more skeptical, but also more information is at our fingertips faster and more readily available than ever before. So this is where authenticity really comes into play, and I think you're highlighting that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what I saw in the market was that there wasn't a lot of I'm going to use the word diversity in the branding. You know, a lot of the brands were focused on either stoners or medical, you know, like a doctor kind of brand. There are 16 archetypes that are specific to cannabis, and I wanted to give brands 16 different directions or inspiration for different types of brands, different types of brand identities. So for example, there is a stoner and there is a doctor, but there's also an activist and a magician and a healer and a sensualist and a farmer. So that way, when brands are defining their brand identity, they can use the universal qualities of these archetypes to help build their identity.
Mm-hmm.
And then it makes sense to consumers because they get it. Like, they understand what an activist is all about or what a doctor is all about. So it makes it easier to make an emotional connection with your consumer.
Just for those of you that stayed to the end, thank you. We're going to tell you how you can get involved with the La Lune pendant giveaway. I don't know if you can see that. There we go. La Lune. You can go to our White Buffalo Spirit Instagram account, and then I'll give you the rules to enter. Thank you, everyone who watched. Thank you to all who are listening. For those of you who are listening, you can support Conscious Cannabiz by visiting ConsciousCannabis.com. I will spell that out for you. CONSCIOUS. Cannabiz, CANNABIZ.com. My name is Courtney Aura Freeman. I'm your host. You can find me on Instagram at Courtney Aura Freeman. You can also find me at White_BUFLO. This show is powered by White Buffalo. We look forward to seeing you very soon, and you can look forward to this interview with Jennifer coming out on YouTube as well as on our website. Thank you again to everybody. Thank you to Jennifer for all of your insights, for this powerful data that you're putting out in the world, and the change and solutions that you're bringing with it. It's really phenomenal.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Courtney.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.